with Mass MVP, and we are going to be talking about innovations in workforce today. Basically talking about how you might be able to incorporate people who are neurodivergent into your workforce and the benefits that will bring you. Let me see, I have a couple of things I have to talk to you about before we start. First of all, today's event is being sponsored by Tony Donovan MD, all breakout sessions. And secondly, SMEP is part of the MEP network, which is across, we have 51 different centers across the United States. And we are overseen by Department of Labor, National Institute of Standards and Technologies. And because of that, we need to be accountable for whatever we do, any interactions we have with anyone, any training we do, events, and we need to have people do a survey for us to help us keep our standard, our excellence, center of excellence. And in order to be a center of excellence, we need to have good grades, we need to be meeting our targets, and that way is how we get our funding. If we don't make the grade, we don't get our funding. So probably in 6 to 9 months, you will be asked to take a survey, and please don't ignore it. Take the survey, help us keep going and growing and being able to give the services that we provide to Massachusetts. End of my sermon. I now will present Michael Tomasky, who I don't need to introduce because you know about him a little while ago. But Michael will lead our discussion today.
Thank you, Karen.
Right ahead, Mike.
Welcome, everyone. Are you going to man the slides for us, Karen?
I will.
Let's put the first slide here. We're going to introduce the panel in a couple minutes. If we go to the next slide, we are going to talk about a program that was propped up after about 5 years and some false starts in the fall of 22. We were able to connect South Shore Tech with the Excel program at Bridgewater State. And we took the Uniquely Able project, which we're going to show you videos of in a minute, which basically takes children, young adults that have autism, puts them through a GT training program and to work. What's unique about this program is Uniquely Able is a 14-week training in the workplace. We melded it with Excel and really extended the time frame, which allowed us to do some extensive, more detailed training, as well as have the students have a college experience from a soft skills standpoint. It's been tremendous. And we're on the cusp of graduation. This picture was taken back in March, and a lot of the key players are there, and the students in the background in South Shore Tech. So I think the next slide, did we connect to the videos yet? Well, just a couple of bullets on the Uniquely Able project. There's a bunch of programs in play, a few more about to go, over 200 graduates, 100% placement. Everybody that wanted a job got one. 100% graduation, 95% placement, and 5% just didn't want to go further their careers in CNC machining. So we're going to show you what the program is about with two very short videos. We'll get into the panel discussion, and please, interactive questions as you go.
Right people for a job. The Uniquely Able Academy is pairing skilled workers to keep your machine running.
Hi, I'm Arnold. I'm a graduate of the Uniquely Able Academy in Santa Clarita, California. In the previous group, the UAA recognized the amazing things between CNC machine operators and people with autism like me. UAA graduates are trained, qualified, and ready to get the job done. We're ready to work for you.
I am the next generation of CNC operators. I'm trained, qualified, and ready to work.
I'm ready to come on duty, work for you, and be one of your best employees.
I am a graduate from Uniquely Able Academy. I'm dedicated to the time. PNC is a non-profit organization. We're an emerging partner in the PNC Talent Pipeline. Our Uniquely Able Academy, or UAA, prepares young adults with autism for competitive employment by leveraging the excellent fit in their natural talents and CNC machining. Many people focus on autism as a disability and emphasize things that someone with a diagnosis can't do. Uniquely Able Project encourages us all to shift our focus from what someone can't do to an appreciation of their unique abilities, what they can do particularly well.
I would recommend individuals who find diagrams or checklists to leverage or employ visual training. Visuals provide central information. This helps UAA workers develop consistent, automatic job performance.
Every culture has its own social norms or informal rules for interacting with others. Every PNC shop also has its own unique culture and norms. A peer mentor can help new hires adjust and find their way. New hires will be very relieved to have a peer mentor. This connection can help new employees be more comfortable and productive on the job. A few small accommodations can help new hires become excellent workers and employees. These simple accommodations don't cost anything, and they're easy to do. The strategies can have a big impact on the success and productivity of UAA graduates.
Josh was one of my best workers, and we all love having him as part of our team. But accommodations like these are effective and successful, this is my own interest as a manager for me. These ideas may seem simple, but they make a big difference to us folks. There's really no cost to them, and the increased productivity makes it well worth it.
We hope that the information and strategies we've presented help you feel more prepared to supervise your UAA new hires or any uniquely able individuals at your company. We hope you'll find it rewarding to help them realize their true potential.
Darren? Both of those are two melded videos together, a couple minutes apiece. You can find them at uniquelyabledproject.org, and we'll follow up with some information on that website. So we are going to talk about the program in play right now. We started in July of last year. Fast forward to right now, we had 6, we ended up with 9 graduates, 6 that are moving on to OJT, and we're in the process of matching up the students with the employers. We actually had an interview a week ago today at AgRounds, and are about to make the first offer for the graduate of this program, which is extremely exciting. So I'm going to introduce each panelist and give them like 2 minutes to talk about their role in this program, and then we'll do a little Q&A. And again, feel free, as questions pop into your heads, put your hand up and we'll get right to them. Let's make it interactive. John.
My name is Dr. John Cash. I'm from Bridgewater State University. I'm the interim director of the Excel program. The Excel program takes students with disabilities from just any level of disability, and we give them 3 clear career paths. You get paid integrated employment. There's a group that goes on and matriculates to become college graduates, and then we have some that have more involved disabilities, and they move to typically supported employment. The way that Excel kind of works with the UAA is we don't necessarily have the technical training, but the students come to us, and this is where they learn how to solve problems. Just like everybody here had a college experience, you learn how to solve problems in college. Number one, just getting through college, so, you had a lot of problems to solve, and that's what gives kind of the added depth and breadth to the technical training that the Uniquely Able Academy helps provide.
Thanks, John. Megan.
I'm Megan Abella-Bullen. I'm with the Center for Advanced Manufacturing at MassTech. We are the entity that supports the state in a variety of different ways around innovation and technology. I specifically focus on workforce development initiatives and hope to fund, it is through one of our grants that we have at the state level that is funding this program that is taking place. And I think the thing I want to say about what was really special about this program is the collaboration that happens So many times a training program may focus on the training and how do we get that individual trained up. This program focused on several different aspects. It focused on, it's working with Bridgewater State, it's working with South Shore Tech, it's working with industry, it's working with NASMEP. All of these partners played a role in helping to make sure that this is going to be successful. And the supports are not just for the individual, which is really important, and I love just about mass rehab, but it's also about the supports for industry themselves and how do you support bringing on individuals who might have different skill sets and different ways of handling things. So I think these are positive things that we'll talk about through the program or through the discussion today, but I think it's really important. Bottom line is I hold the purse strings and they come to me for funding.
We're not going to do it all day. Paul.
I'm Paul Bello. I'm the director of South Shore Tech. I handle all the trades, and one of the trades that I handle is manufacturing. And we combined our talents with BSU and manufacturing. And what we do is we take these students and we teach them how to become machinists. Talk like a machine, talk like a machinist, because everybody's manufacturing and I'm not. So when I walked into my first manufacturing, you guys all talk funny. All right, you say things that I didn't understand. We have to teach students this, and teaching these students that are college age and learning how to manufacture. That's our job to do that, and to take each one of these individuals and teach them in manufacturing what to do and how to do it was a unique experience for us. But I'll be honest with you, graduating 6 out of these 9 that are going to the workforce, these are going to probably be the best employees you'll ever have. I know because I graduate 700 students, and these are the students that I feel these 6 are going to be with any employer for a long period of time. I didn't do it without BSU because that part of the program, he teaches them how to keep the job. We teach them how to do the job.
Matt.
Good afternoon, or good morning, I forget what time
Still
it is.
morning.
Still morning, I've been up early today. I'm Dr. Matthew Barad. I am, how to explain what I am? Currently, I am at the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission. I am a supervisor for the job placement team. So the role at MRC is to help individuals with disabilities become employed, help them with training, help them with supports, to get to that next level. And we're dealing with individuals with disabilities from all walks of life. It could be physical, it could be intellectual, but skill-wise, it can be from entry level to PhD level individuals. Okay, so we're here to support them, get them trained up if they need it. Some people come through with years of experience, but they had a barrier in their life, which is a disability, that they need retraining or they just need a new focus to have their skills match the job that they need to acquire. So we work with them preparing that, but we just don't help support the individual. We also help support you, the employers. We help go into your companies and talk about DEI, talk about workforce development, talk about how to work with individuals with disabilities, and we can provide supports that way. We also provide on-the-job training opportunities. We create job-driven training programs as well, based on your needs as employers. So the MRC has twofold, right? Consumer, which is now your job seeker or your employee, and also you, the employer. And then one shameless plug, I'll be leaving the MRC and coming over to Mass MEP in a week. So you'll see me more in workforce development.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Thank you. It's getting really hot in here. You did? You might open the door so we can get a little fresh air.
We can all go out. Brand out here.
Go over on the way. If it's too breezy, let us know. We need a little, I'll be soaked all the time.
Thank you for that.
A little more background, and then we'll get into some Q&A. So this program, a parent came, actually to my brother initially, who owns a company in North Shore. And she was a parent in the South Shore. He called me. She had an autistic child. She heard about this program. She introduced it to us in 2019, and we started to do some research, get a team together, and then COVID hit. Stopped, dead in our tracks. We started back up again, and thanks to Jay Ash, he's the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development for the state that now works at the Mass Competitive Partnership. We get a call, and we said, "You really want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I need to give it one more shot." He ended up getting in touch with Vinny DiMacedo, ex-state senator that works as a special assistant to President Clark at Bridgewater State. Then we talked to John, and then with Vinny, John, Jay, myself, Stacy Kaminsky, who runs the Southeastern Mass STEM Network, and Paul, we just had kind of all the bases covered from a steering team standpoint. Obviously, Cam and Megan, the support, and Matt and MRC that were there at the beginning as well. It's been a very unique experience, and Paul can attest to John. We'll be Friday night, Sunday afternoon, there's emails flying. People are responding. I mean, that's how much people really care. So we were very fortunate to put the great group of people together and have the right support from industry, from education, and from government. And we've kind of done it ad hoc. We're just kind of doing it as we go, taking good notes, hopefully to formulate as we go into cohort 2, a little more consistency, ultimately hiring somebody to run the program. Just Tuesday, I was asked by the North Shore Advanced Manufacturing Consortium to present at their leadership team meeting, and I presented this program to them. They're extremely interested. They said they have some funding opportunities, so our hope, everybody's hope, is to start to populate this across the state. So, John, I'll start with you. Why do children on the spectrum, high-functioning autistic adults, why do they assimilate so well to manufacturing and seasonal students specifically?
Well, the one thing that having autism kind of separates you with is you kind of get focused in on things, right? So you may focus in on something you hear. You may focus in, especially on something that's very visual. Well, in manufacturing, most of the work is visual work. It's just close inspection. It's being more accurate. Which is another way that people with autism tend to function very well. Probably the most important part is they are able to do repetitive jobs that people typically without autism will still do and get used to doing, but they cannot like it as much. It's if you're, when I was a young guy working in furniture manufacturing, that's kind of a very repetitive job. You have a place on the line, you're moving stuff through the line. And boy, it's hard to sit there all day and do the exact same thing. There's not a lot of change. Well, people with autism, they thrive in that. Hey, this is great. Let me do the same thing. I'll do it, and I'll do it well. So it's just, the things that we think cause people to have a disability, really, if you give them meaningful work and give them work they can do they really even have a disability? If you roll the clock back 50 years to where just about the time I was born, most of these guys you wouldn't have considered to have a disability, they would be working on your line anyway. So just with the way technology has advanced, the way education has changed to where we push everybody towards college, these guys have kind of been left out. They, this their unique abilities kind of keep them separated. But man, there's a lot of opportunity out there for somebody who does not mind repetitive work, wants to have a place they can come to and create sameness in the environment. That's manufacturing's perfect.
Paul, can you tell us a little bit about the on-site training that you experienced and interacting with the students and some of the earlier safety type of things that they learned?
Yeah, so during our first part of our program, safety is the biggest part in any machine shop. So we go over the safety part, go through OSHA 10, they get an OSHA degree, they get their certificate from OSHA 10. And then, again, I'll bring back talking like a machinist. We go over, measuring how to use a machine, how to put a machine together, how to use a caliper, how to use all the tools that you're going to use in a machine shop. The best part about this whole program is this was probably the first group I've ever had that finished OSHA on time. They got everything we sent home with them, they got done. They were just on top. They were definitely part of the number one team. And we realized that part of learning how they acted in a machine shop, when they first came in, they were very shy. They didn't say anything. And then this gentleman said to me the other day, he said, now I see them, they're in their element. When they're in the machine shop, they're talking, they're having fun. they're showing everybody how to put a machine together, how to run a machine, how to put a steam engine together that they made all the parts. So this is some amazing things that people didn't have that chance. Without BSU, we wouldn't be able to do that with these students. Okay? Them keeping a job is huge, but also being in a machine shop and learning a trade and doing it better than anything. You know, I made a part, and I'm not a machinist, and one of the kids goes, "That is absolutely terrible." And I'm gonna be honest with you, he was 100% right. It was absolutely terrible. I tried to get a job at Acura, I couldn't. So, there you go.
That's great.
I'll add one, I just want to add a piece
Sure.
in there. So one of the things that happened in this program over the time frame was they brought the students in, they had them in the summer program, and they taught them all of the key skill sets. And then there was a conversation that said, we know we need to make them feel more comfortable working in a team environment. And so they came back and they said, is there potentially an ability for us to do some additional funding to have these students stay over an additional time frame, basically work with another program that South Shore does, which is called their Career Tech Initiative program that happens in the evenings, so that now these students who have the skill set can be partnered with other students to learn those human interaction skills that are going to be really key. I think that was a huge piece in your foresight to see that and then come back and ask, can we do this, was important, because I think it gave them those skills that you're talking about now, that they feel much more comfortable. They know how to interact in an environment, because it's not just the teaching, they now were forced to be part of a team, and I think that's a key aspect that you folks did.
And one of the things that we did realize is not everybody's going to be a machinist. Some people are going to be assembly, some are going to be doing inspection, and that was one of the things that we learned when we pivoted at times, that we had to pivot on how we were going to do certain things. And that was crucial, especially with manufacturing. There's so many different avenues that a student can go into in manufacturing, so it helped us out a lot.
I'd like to add, when I went and saw the students at school and doing the work, one of the big pieces that I know was mentioned this morning about mentorship. They actually have student mentors from the day program,
Yep.
right, that come down into this classroom, and just to see the interaction between the student to the student, the mentor, right? Same thing can happen in your employment. Is you have one mentor, they have somebody that they know that can go and they can trust and share that information, and the growth was just incredible. And just don't be afraid that, I mean, we're talking about individuals, again, with disabilities. They don't have a disability, they have abilities to do the job, and that's why they're coming to you, because of the skill sets that they gain. It's not about the disability, it's about the ability. And that's why they hire people anyway, right, because of the abilities that they bring.
So I'm kind of a hybrid here. I was in industry for 15 years, and I just taught vocational for 20 through electrical,
You sure you want a job?
robotics and automation, and my last one, because of COVID, because of an automation background, I wasn't really the person, but they put me in engineering technology at Monty Tech in Pittsburgh, and I'm now with Tech Ed Products, but I had one of my classes, 16 engineering students, 8 of them had IEPs, I had some autistic students, I had a girl that doesn't speak because of anxiety, not pushing anything here, had some online curriculum that everybody could learn at different levels. I love what you're doing here, because I use the curriculum as my support, where you're having some mentors. And one thing I always say with the state money and federal money, a lot of what I see in schools, from 2 different schools I work at, is you don't always have the support. You're one teacher, 16 students, 8 have how do you conduct that classroom? So I've seen a lot of success with that, but I would love to push your program through any school. I'm seeing schools all over the Northeast now. So my hat's off, because I have students. I went back to my old school 2 days ago to talk about a grant, and one of my students, big autism with autism, he just does what you're saying. Everything is just does it in sequence, does anything you ask, and it's awesome to hear that you're doing.
So part of what we do on our end of the training is that we provide the peer mentors. We have some peer mentoring that goes on during the training. But we have peer mentors at the college who are actual college students. Their job is to help socialize these students. So that number one, that kind of helps with different aspects of future work. But also, we provide ed coaching to these students to get them through like the OSHA. One of the reasons it works so well with what Paul was saying is that we have graduate assistants who are going into education, who are working with these students to get them through OSHA, to get them through tutoring. We're going to add in work keys next year so that they can get these skills that the kind of knowledge foundation. But also, we get to work on in the college environment some of these behaviors that keep you separated from just your typical workforce. We have some of our students who just they've kind of been coddled to, and just because if you have, does anybody ever have a child with disability? My son has autism. Yeah, and so, or you say relative, because that's probably the best way to say it. But the first thing you do is you protect them. So we kind of work out those kinks and all the over nurturing that the students get. They have to be places on time. They have to do things. They have to complete these certifications. They have to work with the people who are working with them to get them through the certifications. And then when they go into the shop, we've taught them tutoring. So not only do they have to work with the people that are helping them through the material, they have to teach each other. And that's one of the first skills that we teach them is how do you work as a team? How do you work with the person next to you so that you're, as you complete these projects, you're actually working through the project with somebody else, even though it's you and your machine, you're getting feedback from everybody. And then once one person's finished, they come over and help the other. So that's some of the ways that, when you're talking about this student who, it gets involved in the sameness. Well, we could turn that into a strength with the interaction with the machine, but we can also kind of blur the edges of that with being able to socialize and being able to solve problems in a real life environment.
I'd also like to say these kids that are 16, I'm talking about, are now juniors. As freshmen came in, and there was a lot of them that didn't speak to one another, but as the team rolls, in vocational ed, you have them all day. They're a team now, and even the girl that didn't speak, she presented early in this year in front of students. So it just kind of starts formulating, but it takes a lot of time to get that trust and that that support around good kids. So.
That's been one of the benefits of extending our program. I think we use 2U, right? You use 2U classes?
Yes, absolutely. And it's been fantastic because they get that basics of manufacturing that everybody needs, as they come into work. And then they have to accomplish things. They have to work with somebody to do that, and it's not just them interacting with the screen. They interact with an educator, but they also interact with one another. We create study groups, which is hard. You have to teach some of these students, you have to teach them how to work with one another and, to get through the material. And then when they're in the shop, they're working with each other. That's how adding on the college experience part becomes almost invaluable, in my humble opinion, not just because that's my end of it. But, we can teach them, we can train anybody to do a job. How do you train them to keep it? And if they don't know how to solve problems in their lives outside of work, I promise you people with disabilities can be sidetracked by those problems in their life. And they're going to bring that into work because they perseverate them.
So part of that whole program would be saying what ESU does is key for this program to work. And that's the difference between the model that UA has is 14 weeks. Our model is longer, but it works better. And we know that they're going to succeed. And one of the things that we did find that when they do the program and they go through DSU and they understand that holding a job and keeping a job, even when they come into our shop, they got to punch in. Okay, we're embedding soft skills to them every day they walk in the shop, and they're embedding soft skills at the college. So you're getting an employee that already knows the routine of it.
And that's one of the things MRC does as well. And most of these students are also now becoming MRC consumers. So we're working with them, and when they come to MRC, they're working with vocational rehabilitation counselors. So they're helping them vocationally guide them through the process. We have soft skills. We, again, touch base on all the same things that BSU is doing and Paul's teaching. We're there to guide them through the process. We teach them job seeking skills, resumes, what to say, what not to say, mock interviews. what you do find with all these extra supports that not only MRC does, but other community partners that are out there, these supports help them through. Instead of most people, when they think about disabilities, it's individuals with disabilities are disabled. These are not disabled individuals. These are people with skills that have more than one barrier in their life, but they can still do the core functions of the job. And that's what we're doing. We're training these individuals that have a skill set, which is a disability. Imagine that, it's a skill set, right? Because that attention to detail, that extreme focus, right? We're using that to help them see that there is a job opportunity out there and they can advance and they can sustain a healthful career that they could build it on their own and be successful and move up, right? And people with disabilities across the United States stay in the jobs longer than people without a disability. It's a proven fact. There's data to support that. They're motivated because they want to be in here because they're always told they couldn't do it. Now they're doing it and they want to stay, and they'll be one of your best employees you're going to bring on board.
To pick up on that, Matt, maybe you can help the audience understand. Talk about what MRC does as some additional support financially, potentially, depending on the individual. Then you've got the Department of Developmental Services, which is, you're working kind of in tandem at times. Just kind of explain that, Sarah, and how those two do.
So there's, again, individuals with disabilities have multiple options for services that can be rendered in the Department of Disability, Development Services, sorry, so many acronyms. And the MRC, we're working together. Some of our within MRC, some are at DDS, so much easier to say. And we combine efforts, and some are with only one, some are with us. But it's really just working along with them, and it's all based on financial funding and what they're able to get from each agency. But we work together to make sure that they're getting all the supports at the different levels that they need. And I mean, there's monthly meetings that we have with each agency just to make sure that they are getting what they need. And if they're not, we're reaching out to other agencies to find out what can we do to support these people. So it could be transportation, it could be minor things, but it's all being able to bring the services to make sure they can be successful.
And as an employee, we're just kind of learning about the opportunities that we have, the individual that we will be making an offer to an OJT, this is financial compensation that MIC can support. It helps us, obviously, get someone integrated into our company. Hopefully for a full-time job.
I want to add one more thing on that,
Sure.
kind of piggybacking, and I'm speaking a little bit out of piece here because I'm not Mass MEP, but I believe you guys still have this right. So one of the pieces that Mass MEP had also provided as a support was support to the manufacturer. So you're a manufacturer. You've got some supervisors who are going to have to work with a person who's neurodivergent, not really sure how they're supposed to interact. Mass MEP has resources to help provide training for the companies as well. And so I think that's also really important to know that we're here to support you on both ends. Not only are we here to support the student or the employee, but we also want to make sure that the companies feel comfortable. And so I'll double check before our next presentation, but I believe that grant will still be in place.
I was going to ask you, Megan, if you could, maybe from a higher level, can the advanced manufacturing funds that come through the state budget, how that's kind of changed a little bit, maybe educate everyone on how to apply for those types of grants.
Certainly. So there's several different layers of funding you can go for. And in the Center for Advanced Manufacturing, we actually have a line item in the state budget for supporting advanced manufacturing training. And we put out a request for proposals every year on a fiscal level. And we've changed it because now we want to make sure that whenever anybody applies for training dollars, they have to be tied or connected with an industry partner, at least one, preferably 2 or 3, because we want that industry partner to actually be looking at what we're training on, making sure that the training competencies, the components are really going to lead them towards a job. That's one piece. And certainly those dollars can focus on the training. But our dollars are a little bit more flexible. Say we partner with another organization. So we partner with a CTI program, which comes through another train of funding. They actually have the dollars to run the Career Tech Initiative at night. They have the funding, they bring the students in to do the training. Our dollars can then be used for wraparound services, support pieces. So there's a lot of flexibility in those dollars. They do not have to be direct training dollars. They can go into all aspects. So we are just finishing with our FY '24 funding right now. Our line item is in the state budget again this year. Right now, we saw it, I think, yesterday or day before, so it's 2.5 million. We'll be putting out a new RFP on the streets probably sometime late July, early August, once the budget is solidified. And a company could partner with a training provider, a nonprofit, to apply for it, or a school or a training provider can be the lead, but companies do need to be a partner in that program.
Excellent. So, as you listen and hear the opportunities, the ask, I guess, for us is to have the awareness that this program exists, and hopefully we're gonna start seeing more programs over the next couple of years develop, and spread the word, right? If you know of companies that are interested in hiring, again, as it's been mentioned a few times, these employees could end up being your best employees because their skill sets assimilate so well to the CNC repetitive tasks, attention to detail, in the work that we do. I could go on and talk, but we've got about 5 minutes left. If you want to open it up to any questions people have, sure.
Well, I actually have a question for our company, we actually have an individual who's on the spectrum. He is one of our best employees and shows up every day and does a great job. He came into our company through his father had worked for the company, so he didn't have a program. And my wife works as a mental health counselor at a clinic school, and she specializes in autism spectrum disorder, and she's working on the soft skills side of things. So I see where these come together in real life, and this is great. The thing I would think is that demand, from once this gets out, will outstrip, the availability. Because you mentioned that 6 that come through the program. I mean, this would be great to see expanded. I'm on the North Shore, so not on the South Shore. Like I said, in real life, I've seen this, I've seen it work. I see the benefits and rewards of it. So, we
have a residential component to what we do, so we can take anybody from anywhere in the state.
Yeah.
And that actually is an added benefit.
Yeah, it is.
Because they learn to live independently as they're getting the training. So we have several states that have done that.
I'm confident that the North Shore will be the next area to prop up the program. That's a great testimony, by the way. Thank you.
And the vocational schools up there, we meet once a month, and this has been brought up to other vocational schools, and Essex Tech, has been, they're gonna be,
Tuesday.
so they're definitely gonna be on board.
It seems like too, with you're doing machine shop and CNC right now. I was in engineering, so it was a little bit of everything. So I had students that went to CAD. Some of the drawings these students were doing CAD were phenomenal. So we had every area of technology they could pick from with what we were using, and they could choose a lane, which is, I think they'd be great, not just in CNC or machining, but all parts of manufacturing.
The Innovating project actually is looking at other disciplines. I believe they're about to launch a cybersecurity curriculum. So it's going to continue to evolve. For this program, we just recruited within current students at Excel. So we didn't necessarily open up for people that were interested in machining. So we started with 9. 3 either aren't interested or want to go back for another semester of college, or another year of college. Of the 6, they're hopefully going to go on to OJT. 4 are good fits for CNC machining, and 2 for assembly. So not too bad for the initial cohort that we kind of cobbled together in a sense. Now the second cohort, John, an Excel program is recruiting for. There's interest. We had a couple of families meet us when we went on site in March. Which, by the way, seeing the program in action, seeing these kids on the machines, seeing them in their element after they've been through the program for a while, so inspiring. They're so engaged, so happy to show you what they worked on, what they've learned. You feel the energy.
You don't have to wait on us to send you people. If you know somebody that you think would be a good fit, maybe needs more training, or that's kind of we just heard that from the uniquely able national meeting that we had just the other day. Is there's employers that are also sending people through this program. They find somebody they want to hire them. They know they need, maybe have a disability. They need some extra. They need the training. That way, a year to 18 months, even less than that, you have a perfect employee.
one of the graduates, John, lives in Saugus, right? So
Yes,
he's in
yes,
North-
absolutely. So there's people on the North Shore. And,
Questions, any other questions or comments?
Is there any part of the curriculum that helps the individual deal with the
Yes.
Yeah.
and we, what we try to do is, you know, now if you rebound off noise, this is a hard profession for you to begin with. But there, you know, for students that don't rebound off the noise may be a little bit of a hindrance, but they feel like they can work through it. You know, you have different earplugs where, you know, you wear headsets, but also just being in that manufacturing environment and getting used to it, the stimulation, just like anything else goes, you know, it becomes a null factor just simply because they're in that environment every day, they get used to it. So, but we try to work on those little things, those little quirks that, to the extent that we can, work on them that, you know, that are gonna keep you separated, that are gonna keep you from having an impact on your performance in the job. So, and what we see, I think, in the difference as the students move through the program, you know, the students that really have more involved issues, or they just, you know, it's just so hard to be in that environment, those are the ones that we try to find other avenues for. You know, they thought this was something they wanted to do after 2 years training, they realized it's just, you know, it's a lot of hard work. We lost several people just by saying, hey, this is the work that's involved. We've had a couple drop out from the interviews that we've had talking about how much work it is. You know, it's like anybody else. Not everybody with disabilities wants to do a lot of hard work.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a
Sure.
question. You talked a lot about the mentorship during the training, and I wondered, what are kind of typical accommodations, once sort of on the job with whether you provide? Is that, I'm sure there's a full range, but a lot of like direct communication, sounds like.
It depends on the individual. In my humble opinion, this is Mike's area and Matt's area. You know, see, the students that we put out did not need a lot of accommodations, and that may be a little piece we're not 100% sure we can do, because once they get the manufacturing
I think
right.
it's gonna be up to every individual will be different,
Yeah.
right? Some may have certain needs and accommodations, others may not. We just will partner that person with a mentor and make sure that individual, it's on the job training, we do contract precision machining, so we'll start the individual in quality, measure parts, we'll have them do some work in advanced finishing, you know, deburring parts, just so they can understand kind of flow, and then we'll get them on a CNC machine, and they'll be mentoring and hopefully assimilate pretty quickly to more longer running work. But, you know, we'll be looking for kind of constant feedback from them. We want them to tell us what may or may not be working for them. You know, thanks to a session we had back in February that Matt hosted, he talked about some of the ideas and helpful hints to integrate these individuals into your company. I've spoken to our team several times about, you know, let's get ready, you know, we don't need to treat them special per se, but you want to have the awareness that they have a unique ability. And as long as they have that and have that understanding, they're not reacting initially to something that may seem a little bit different to them. And we have, thankfully, a great team that's open and welcoming. And we don't foresee any major roadblocks. I'm sure we'll have our, you know, a few failures here and there because of things that we may assume and we shouldn't, but it'll be a kind of a living learn for us.
And just to touch base on that, again, some of the common accommodations, or I don't know, maybe an accommodation, it's just a way of doing business, right? Which doesn't only have to be with people on the spectrum, right? Open lines of communication, right? Follow up, right? You may send an email. It may take them longer to send an email, but if you're sending a dissertation, right, you're not going to get through the dissertation. So, and many of our staff won't get through the dissertation either, right? So, short, concise, to the point communication. Sometimes it's a follow-up from the email and, hey, Johnny, tell me about, you know, did you understand what we just discussed? Those types of things, but that should be common day every practice anyway. So it's not, there's no cookie cutter. to the point, and was really working with the individual, like Mike said, and so after a week of work, tell me how's everything going? How was the communication? How was the integration? How was the training? What can we do better? Sometimes it's the ability to have a phone just to be able to take notes. Like if you're going to be given a project, you may not be able to keep a notepad with you, but you can have a phone and have all the goals for the day down and stuff like that. But it's more about learning from them what do they need to be successful. And then really implement that across the board.
We have a team member now that we haven't been told he is on the spectrum, but we kind of assume that he is, and it's fine. You know, we had a co-op that people who are on the spectrum. Our longest tenured employee that came, the father bought the company in Akron in 1976. This individual was working at the company when he bought it. He's definitely new. And so he's been here since day one. Now with COVID, I think he's coming back really soon, a couple days a week. He's in his 70s, but we're his family. He just wants to get back involved. So, not that he's autistic, but he has unique ability. Tremendous worker, but communicating. So individuals learn sign language just to talk with him. He reads lips, he writes notes. But so that's different than everyone else in the company. But it's worked.
I think we're wrapping up now. We're 1 minute, I think. But I just wanted to point out here that this is a great discussion. If you have anything you'd like to share, our keynote speaker, Jane, would like to tie some things in with her closing today. So if you want to scan the QR code, if you have any questions or comments about this breakout session, she'd love to include it in her final presentation. Thank you very much to everybody for attending and to our panelists.
Thank you. Thank you. That was fine.
I could understand.
Yeah, you got it.